Hello everybody, welcome to an episode of Moe'S CD Culture Show and Tell. And today I am ranking the 5 studio albums and plus including Opiate. So I'm having 6 albums altogether. I always considered Opiate an album even though it is an EP, but it has to be included because it's such a central part. I'm only ranking the CDs I have, so of course Saliva won't be a part of this ranking. Now, I'm going to be ranking it from least best to best. Of course, there's no worst album. I rate every single one of these at 10 out of 10, so get that out of the way right away. That's my ranking for each and every one. Now, having to be forced into doing a ranking, I thought about it for at least a good 10 to 15 minutes of which ones to rank where. And there's no real rhyme and reasons why. If you guys know me by now, you will know which one is number 1, of course. But the other 5, how I rank those, yeah, you'll see as I go along. Now, in the number 6 position, as least best, it's an album that is, for me, it was not the Tool that I grew up with. It's not. It's more melodic. It's more softer in many ways. Even though it is still heavy in many respects, it is in slightly the weakest album of all the rest of them in my opinion. They changed up their formula a little bit. I will say it has still some of the best drumming in pretty much all the Tool albums in some ways. Although my number 1 album has some of the best drumming too, almost equally as this one. But it has to be Fear Inoculum in the number 6 position. Not necessarily because it's too little too late, basically 13 years in the waiting for this album. Is that the first impression I got of it when I first played this was that Maynard's voice sounded a little bit too much Perfect Circle-ish. Too much of the there's no real drive or force behind his voice. Not like with Opiate, for example, where where he kind of not screams, but he belts out with such emotion and such fierce a tenacity that it just gives you goosebumps. I mean, what gave me goosebumps mostly with this album, of course, again, is the drumming. And they don't really delve into any new and interesting sounds that I haven't heard before. A lot of the riffs and musical elements seems to be an echo of all their previous stuff. I hear a little bit of this, I hear a little bit of that. There's some songs where I definitely hear a touch of like the songs like songs like Right Into and other. Yeah, so it doesn't seem as new or innovative as any of the other albums came before it. Now, yeah, that's reason why it's at the number 6. And I'm only talking about the music. I'm not talking about packaging. That would be probably another video in and of itself later on. But yeah, that's why this gets to number 6, is because it just didn't wow me. But I still play it a lot. I still play it when I first got this, I was playing it almost every day for at least 2 to 3 months. And then every second day, and then every third day, and then it kind of dwindled. Now I play it maybe about once every month. Yeah, I play it once every month since it came out in 2019. Yeah, in October of 2019. So Tool, you're about due for another album. Hopefully next year we'll get another album from you, because that would be, yeah, I would still buy it and I will still love it and I will still rate it a 10 out of 10. I know for sure. But that's what this is. Now at the number 5 position, and for many of the same reasons why Fear Inoculum was at the number 6 position, would be 10,000 Days. Because 10,000 Days, again, didn't really do anything new or innovative. And I found they're a little, like, when it got to Hoffman's Lost Keys one there. I'm just going to look at the, yeah, Lost Keys, Blame Hoffman. And then before, like, yeah, Limpid Conjuring and Lost Keys, Blame Hoffman. When it got into that kind of area, I don't know, it just didn't feel Tool-like enough for me. It felt like they were going in a weird direction. I mean, of course, I loved the first 5 tracks. Absolutely, like Vicarious, Jambi, Wings for Marie, 10,000 Days. 10,000 Days has such a great climax to it. Like, it builds and builds and builds, and then it just, like, it releases and it just sends you off. The bass playing in the pot, like that cool groovy bass playing, really wowed me. But then, you get Rosetta Stone, which is awesome. It's heavy but it sounded more like a rant from Maynard rather than lyrically, like, singing. It wasn't as lyrically, like, or even phonetically as strong as well. Then you get to Intentions, which is kind of mellow, and then there's Right Into, which is still an awesome song too. I love Right Into. But then it gets Vigenti Tres, the kind of their little instrumental, like, which is just sounds. It's just kind of weird little whooshing sounds in this and that, and it doesn't. It didn't wow me like another album did previously, which is my number 1 album. That my number 1 album became The Plateau, and then after that, everything else that came after it, I would compare it to that, and and don't get me wrong, a 10 out of 10, and I love it, but that's where I felt like they plateaued and kind of dipped a bit. So that's why this is at number 5. Again, I had to choose an order, and these ones were not too much of a difficult order. I expecting a certain, because they kept on getting better and better and better and better, and then they came with this, and it kind of plateaued and dipped a tiny bit. So yeah, that's why it's at number 5. Now the next 3 were were the most difficult parts to separate, to rank, because I still have a special place in my heart for each one of these, and I had to choose an order, so I choose this as in the number 4 position, Anima, because again, 10 out of 10. Like, I still love it. There's some really strong songs. When I first listened to it, I didn't know how I felt about all those little interludes, starting with I have to look at the song names again. With Useful Idiot, for example, Message to Harry Manback, and then there was the interlude, and then the Dire von Satan, and then the Cesario Sumability, and then negative ions, because they weren't actual songs. They were just like basically filler material, but it's the songs, okay? The songs itself that really elevated it, especially it just had like all the songs in there was just fantastic. It's just, yeah, the first time I heard it, I didn't really know what to make of those interludes. And that's why it's at the number 4 position, just because of those interludes. I mean, I've come to appreciate them, but from what they did before and after, it really didn't. It really didn't. It's not as strong. And sometimes when I play this album, I do play it with all the tracks included, but many times I will play it and I will eliminate all those little filler tracks, and just listen to the main songs. So that's the only reason why it's at number 4. Now number 3 here, okay? Easily exchangeable with number 2. But I had to pick one as number 2 that, and yeah, it's tough. It's still kind of tough, and I still don't know if I want to rank him in that. But I am going to pick number 3, Opiate. Well, only because it's an EP, so it's a little short. But it's so raw and heavy, and it's the first album I ever heard. And it's the album, when it was only this album, that made me a fan. And they became my favorite band, was just this EP. It's because of Hush, Part of Me, and Opiate. Especially Opiate, that was solidified them as my favorite band. The way he shouts out, yeah, like there's a Jesus, like especially the third time with Jesus Christ, why don't you come save my life? There's such energy and passion behind what he's saying, and like you feel that he meant what he was saying. And not talking about believing in God or he's talking about the blind religion, people believing in just for the sense of their identity, and mainly I always thought he's not talking about religion and beliefs, but he's talking about evangelists and believing in the hype rather than the goodness of it, and wanting to belong to something, and when you, yeah. And Hush was the first video I ever seen of them, and I was at the time questioning the whole idea of censorship, because there was great music that I was listening to at the time that I was like, being a Metallica fan, for example, and not really understanding why they're trying to protect us from all these bad words or salacious content. And that it only made people want to buy them more. And putting a warning label on your albums made you even want it more. It was a badge of honor, and bands were trying to get their warning labels on their albums just so that they could, because it made more sales. People wanted to know what was so bad about it. I have to hear what they're saying is so bad that they have to put this darn parental advisory stickers on there. So that's why that and a part of me It's the first real song that I really paid attention to when my great friend played it on a skateboard video, and that's what made me go and buy the album in the first place. I probably would have eventually, because it was just too good of a band not to be aware of. But yeah, it's all those factors, and the first time I heard it, it blew my mind. It blew my mind and became instantly, after hearing it for the first time, my favorite band of all time. Since 1992, since this first came out. And so what's in my number 2 position, this is number 3, what's in my number 2 position is it was the year later when they came out with Undertow. And yeah, they finally made a full-fledged album, and I had to go get it immediately. And especially with that beginning track of Intolerance, I that's where I started really relating to this band and saying, yeah, you got it. Then there's Prison Sex and Sober, and then Bottom, which had Henry Rollins like doing a spoken word thing in there, and then and by the time you get to 4 Degrees, 4 Degrees is my favorite song on this album. I just love the twanginess at how it begins with the, and then it punches in with such a cool groove and such a deep message. It's the messages that I get from Tool that makes them my favorite band. And a lot of people might have misunderstood them and thought, oh, they're promoting some negativity. They're promoting some hate stuff in that. But I had never ever saw them that way. I saw them as a positive force for change and for good. And if people would just open their mind and listen with their hearts, not with their head, but with their hearts, they would see that there was a positive message of human growth and understanding, and not being pigeonholed into just one way of thinking, but expanding your mind to other possibilities. That's what this band represents to me, and that's why this is in my number 2, because it is the heaviest, most crunchiest, as one of my favorite YouTubers says, chonky albums there is for them. And yeah, it solidified. It really enforced everything that Opiate brought to me, and just made it even better. So that's why this is at number 2. It's fantastic, and I still really love this album. And again, it could have been equally interchanged with Opiate. I could consider them both 3 and 2 in the rankings, because they're that close to being perfection. But nothing for me in this whole entire world is more important and more of a perfect album than this. The musical content, the lyrics, the whole structure, the order of the songs. It's just a perfect, for me, I consider the perfect album, like especially for a metalhead like me. And it was their first real how should I put that? There's them getting into prog and really mastering the whole progressive aspect of their sound. For me, this is the plateau. This is the height of everything that makes the band special for me. I can relate to this album more than any other album on earth. It's my favorite album of all time because of those messages that it promotes, of forgiving, of being patient, of communicating with your fellow man in order to make a better world, and to being at one with yourself, and into like if you're going to suck all my energy out of me and use me like for all those who like there's a song about those who want to suck like who wants to tear you down and make you a less of a person. I hope you choke on the energy you take off of me. I hope you choke on it because I am a free human being. There's songs about opening your mind to other possibilities and seeing the beauty even in the darkest of places, that there always is a light shining in the darkest of places that will guide you on your spiritual journey. It's the most spiritual, most humanly fundamental album I have ever heard in my life. It's the most intelligent album I have ever heard in my life. It really promotes humanity. It's the most human. Like I just can't get over. I still play this as often as I can, and I don't play it enough anymore. I mean, look, this is my fifth copy of this album that I owned because I've worn it out so much by playing it so often, and yeah, so I really don't want to ruin another one by playing it all the time. So now when I do play it, it's just it will still fill me up with all that peace, love, joy, and understanding that this band can give me. I mean, why else did I buy this on LP form? Because it's such a monumental, important album, and that's why it's always going to be ranked number one. Not just in the Tool albums altogether, but of any album of all time. I love this album. So that's it. That's my ranking of the Tool albums. You all probably guessed that Lateralis was going to be my favorite of all time. But yeah, I enjoy making these. I'm going to always make more videos. I do have a lot more ranking videos. I got a couple of really long ones because I'm not going to split them up in different chapters like I have. I'm going to revisit certain bands that I have the complete collection, and that's like 20 plus albums that they have in their collection. So those are going to be really long episodes. Just I hope you would join me when I do those rankings and enjoy my videos. So if you consider subscribing to my videos, to my channel and everything, I do greatly appreciate it, and I welcome any and all of you, everybody. And please like my videos and comment, because I love comments. I always try as much as possible to get to the comments and respond back. It's a big part of why I love doing this, because I love reaching out and connecting with new and interesting people. And I'm so fascinated lately, especially in the last couple of months, on what other people like and why they like what they like, and learning more about music and trying to sample other artists that I wouldn't have never have considered listening to before. So I'm enjoying my journey through this, through all these videos and everything. And I want to thank all my subscribers and viewers for sticking with me. The ones who have stuck with me through all this so far. I love you all. And then, as always, and you know I'm always going to say this, please be safe. Take care. I will see you on the flip side. And please, everyone, have a great day, evening, night, wherever you may be. Peace, everybody.